Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Slime here. What's up, all my kings and queens and in-betweens? Alright, so I know I've been like procrastinating and doing the Tom MacDonald video, but I will be filming it within a few more days, like 1 or 2. I'll film it, like part 3. But today I was gonna name the video my thoughts: transracialism, culture appropriation, and transgender people. So it's basically me giving my thoughts on that. But it's really going to be a hot take video. So what I'm going to call it today is just hot takes with Slime. And I'm just going to talk about culture appropriation / appreciation, transracialism. If you know why I'm talking about that, God bless you, because that's a whole nother thing we'll get to. And transgender people. Okay, so let me just double check my camera is recording. It is. Alright, so I guess I want to go culture appropriation, transracialism, and then transgender, because I feel like that'll be more cohesive to my point, because they all kind of interconnect in this weird way, and the focal point being transracialism. Okay, so my hot take on culture appropriation is I don't think you should do culture's religious garb. Like, no headdresses for the Native Americans. Like, just let that go. So no, like, religious stuff. Don't do, like, oh, this is stuff they wear to, like, funeral. Like, you know how, like, in American culture you wear all black to a funeral? I'm sure in other cultures there is, like, traditional garb you would want to wear to... Oh my god, there's a wasp in my car. Ugh. Oh my gosh. I would show you it, but it's kind of just flying around. Like, you know, I'm sure in other cultures, like, traditional garb for, like, people, like, kind of dying. Oh my gosh. I don't want it supposed to sing me. Oh my gosh, I'm probably going to cut this out. Okay, it flew away. Finally. Alright. Oh my gosh, I don't know if I'll keep that in. Okay, so you know how there's no religious garb. I'm sure there's traditional stuff for funerals. Don't wear that. And maybe some other stuff that's for very hyper specific, like maybe weddings or such stuff such as. I don't think you should be wearing that. But I do think it's a culture appreciation where you wear, like, I don't know if anyone remembers this. Remember when that girl got in trouble for wearing the classic Chinese dress? And I don't think that had any special meaning. It was just kind of a classic dress that's, like, in China. And she wore it to her prom, and everyone freaked out. It's like, my culture's not my costume. Okay. Hot take from a white man. I love other people's cultures. I grew up in a predominantly white area with obviously some minorities, but it's mostly white. And I love learning about other people's cultures. Like, I would ask a bunch of questions. I'm, like, so curious. And, like, oh my gosh, the wasp came back. Oh my gosh. I don't know. Oh my gosh. Ah!
Waiting for pairing. Pair.
I'm going to try to get out of my car and then... Go away, Mr. Wasp. Alright, the wasp is out of my car. I guess I'm just going to have to do it with, like, the windows up, because this wasp is not, like, leaving me. Alright, so I'm like going to be super hot. Whatever. So I just think with the whole Chinese dress thing, I think she appreciated the culture, and that's why she wore the dress. Like, she didn't wear it in a disrespectful way. She obviously was paying homage to the culture it came from. And yes, as a white girl wearing it to prom, but like, I don't think that was like a bad thing. Well, because she wasn't like rude or disrespectful. Sorry, I have to like roll down the window a little bit. She wasn't like rude or disrespectful with it. Oh my gosh, this wasp won't leave my car alone. She wasn't rude or disrespectful with it. She just wore it to prom and everyone like freaked out. I honestly don't. The reason why culture appropriation is bad is because people who originated that culture get in trouble or get criticized or mocked for just expressing themselves through that culture. So I get why they would be upset if you're just a white girl wearing something they've been mocked for that's part of their culture. But since I grew up in America, and my perspective is like we always been a melting pot, and like the kind of the rest of the world, and this isn't me being like, oh, so you can't wear your culture, but you wear ours. What like Western culture influences a lot of, like, specifically American culture influences a lot of different cultures, where our dress, like the way we dress, like American films, like so much. So I'm coming from the perspective of someone who I love other people's cultures. I have an Australian friend, and I would like ask them a billion questions about their culture. I had a friend that grew, like a black friend that grew up in a predominantly like kind of like black area. I'm asking tons of questions about black culture. Like I'm just interested. So I kind of side with um the people who are upset because I get where you're coming from. Like you've been mocked for your culture, and now to have someone kind of like culture vulture and make it like hip or cool is kind of like offensive. I get that. But I don't know. I guess in my perspective is like, what are we aiming for? We're aiming for, in my eyes, a culture where all cultures are equally represented, equally respected. Everyone's loved for who they are. They just be themselves, and it wouldn't really matter if someone who doesn't. Like, I'll give you an example. In Japan, there is a big cholo culture. Like, you can look it up. It's on YouTube. Like, just Google probably like Japan cholo culture, where they would dress up in like cholo makeup, like obviously referencing like Latinos and I think was it Southern California, and they would do like lowriders, like they dressed up in like clothes, and they consume like I guess like Latin films. Like they just love that specific kind of Latin culture, and they think it's so cool. They have so much love and respect for it. But no one would call that cultural appropriation because it's obvious that they love it. So that's kind of like what I'm getting to. I want us, like, God created everyone to be unique. Like, you think about, like, I don't know, this kind of like shows the power of God and like how beautiful God is. Like, there's 7 billion people on this planet, and each one of them is an individual, like with their own unique personality, skills, traits, whatever. Like when we want to strive for a culture, like I said, excluding those special terms like weddings, funerals, religious stuff, like don't touch that. But like, wouldn't we want a culture to represent like that we're all one, like we're all a humanity under God, like He created us to be unique, like wouldn't we want a culture to be like mixed almost, like so, like I said, I get the idea of culture appropriation is gross because people who live this experience, they get mocked for it. And it's not fair to them if someone who doesn't live that struggle for being mocked for their culture gets to just wear it freely without the same duress. Like, you know what I mean? But I would also say, like, to me, it matters on, like, intent. Like, if they truly appreciate the culture and truly love the people, like, I don't think it's an issue for them to wear those types of clothes or appreciate that culture. So now, oh, and then also I want to talk about, like, a little bit of hypocrisy, the stuff I found annoying. I was scrolling through TikTok, and I think it was an Indian woman had dressed up her two friends, like her two white friends. An Indian girl dressed up her two white friends in, like, Indian clothes. Like, I don't know, like, you know what kind of clothes I'm talking about. Like, I don't know what they're called. And showed her mother, and the mother's like, oh my gosh, you guys look so beautiful. It was a really cute moment. Everyone in the comments is like, this is how you appreciate culture, like, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, so this is where I had to be a little shady. I agree. They are appreciating culture. I think it's cute that her friend dressed her up in these nice clothes. But you guys would 100%, if a white girl did this by herself, with no Indian friend there, and she just thought these type of clothes were cool, 100% you'd be flaming her in the comments. So I just want to keep the same energy. If you truly think, like, this person truly appreciates the culture, then let them, like, appreciate it. But let's not play this game where it's like, oh no, well, because the Indian girl's there to be, like, the supervisor and she's okay with it, then it's okay. It's like, okay, well, I think it would be okay even if she wasn't there, but, you know, we're just going to be hypocrites in the comments. Like, you wouldn't call these white girls out if you saw them doing it by their own volition, but, okay, whatever you want to talk about. So now we're getting to the part, transracialism. So if you know what I'm talking about, I don't know if he changed his name, but I'm just going to have to, I'll play it safe. An influencer is saying they're transracial. So I went through all the culture appropriation, culture appreciation topic. Now we're getting to this topic that ties it together. He's saying he is a Korean. He is London born. He's an influencer. And he says he is actually Korean. And he's transracial. So he looked up to Rachel Dolezal and said, if she could do it, why can't I? So, and it's not a funny situation. It's just, I don't even know what to say. I have so many opinions on it. It's an interesting topic. I want to claim this first. I think it's inappropriate, racist, but I don't know how racist it is. It's obviously racist because he got a procedure on his eyes to make his eyes look more Asian. Air quotes, because I don't even know if his eyes look Asian. They haven't healed and they don't look Asian to me. He's going after an Asian styled eye, put it lightly. So this man's transitioning. Well, they say they're non-binary. They are transitioning, to being a Korean. So they're London-born, going to be a Korean. And they have a interest in Jimin, I think I'm saying his name right, the BTS Korean. Jimin. So they want to look like Jimin, so they have surgeries to look like Jimin. And this is where I'm going to try to put it lightly. I don't know what mental health stuff's going on over here. I don't want to be mean. I have had body dysmorphia where I would look in the mirror and see like 50 billion different faces. And I would think I was so ugly. And then I would look at old pictures of myself and be like, oh, I was cute. So I get not liking yourself. I love myself now. I think I'm iconic and beautiful and amazing. But I get not loving yourself. This seems a step too far, and it's giving me very much, I'm not a doctor, allegedly, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not saying this to be mean, I'm just saying this is what it's giving me, extreme body dysmorphia. Because and this is going back into culture appropriation, culture appreciation. I think if you are like, if you're like they, if you love the Korean culture, move to Korea. Start speaking the language. Do everything that's culturally appreciate. Don't appropriate, appreciate. And if you want to marry Korean, I don't care. We could get into that. It's kind of like fetishization. But if you treat the person right, like, who cares? Who cares? I'm sorry, I don't care. That's if you treat the person right. And yes, it's kind of like a fetish, but I guess we could get into talking about the psychology behind fetishism and when it's okay and when it isn't. Because if you're fetishizing a race, that's wrong. But if you're fetishizing like tall people, like most of the internet does, that's okay. I think we could have a healthy discussion about it. But that's a whole other subject. So, obviously, fetishizing races can be wrong. Well, obviously, more likely they are wrong because it plays into stereotypes. But I feel like I love, like, blonde hair women. Blonde hair white women. I just like that combo. I love black women. And I love Asian women. I think they're so beautiful. Like, those are my top 3 for females. For dudes, it's like whoever is cute. I don't really care about body type, height. I've slept with, that's not me being proud of it, but I slept with a variety of men of all races and shapes and sizes and skin tones. I've done stuff with women, and yeah, I've pretty much done everything with a woman, the race. I've done well, I haven't had sex with women, but I've like made out with different races of women. Why am I talking about this? I'm talking about this because I think if you find a certain race attractive, depending on how you handle it and how you treat them and whether it's based on a stereotype, I don't think it's inherently wrong to find a certain race the most attractive. Because that's like preference. I don't know. But obviously fetishization is wrong and it can lead to bad outcomes for races. Certain races. All races. I don't know. So, I think if you want to do a situation where you're like, I love the Korean culture, I'm moving there, I'm speaking the language, doing the whole 9, God bless you, live your best life, queen, like, marry a Korean, I don't care. Now, this is what I'm talking about. It comes into that sense of extreme body dysmorphia, because race is the social construct. Human race is the main race. God created humans, period. Like, we aren't different just because our skin tones are different. We're just humans with different skin tones because of mutations and how we evolved to be applicant in different climates, obviously. But there's nothing inherently like we don't have different organs. It's not much different other than cosmetic when it comes to races. So when it screams body dysmorphia to me, because, like I said, I'm not diagnosing him, I'm not being mean. This is the only phrase and wordage I can use to express my feelings that feels most connected to what I'm trying to express. So I'm not trying to be mean. And if you see this, I'm not trying to be mean to you. I support you somewhat, not really. That's a whole other thing. I'm just using this wordage because I don't know how to explain these feelings and thoughts. And this just word kind of sums it up. If you're transforming your face into another race where cosmetically I don't understand it because you could just love that culture and be part of that culture and just not transform your face and body, like kind of like Rachel Dolezal. Like, you don't have to, like, I think she allegedly, I don't know, did she darken her skin? Like, I think she looked a little bit more tan than she was supposed to. And oh, sorry, a car's coming by. My ultimate opinion is there's something going on. It's kind of like those people. Obviously, it's offensive to the race, but I've heard some people say that they don't care. I'll give my opinion. So I think, one, it's sad because I want everyone to love themselves, love their bodies, and love who God made them. And now, in those extreme examples, I wouldn't care if someone got like a facial surgery to make themselves look a different way because they love themselves. Now, it gets problematic when you do it to look like a certain race, especially because I don't know what that cosmetic surgery did to his eyes, but like, couldn't you go blind? Like, I don't know, like messing with the eye stuff, like, is it really worth it to like, I don't know, I'm not a doctor, but like, I'm thinking if you're doing anything around the eyes, like, isn't there always like a risk that it could like mess up your vision? So I think this is where I get into, I think he needs more grace and love than like death threats and hatred. And I'm not going to tell people of color how to feel, but let me explain. This is giving me very much. Do you know those people who disable themselves because they feel like they should have been born blind? I literally saw this video where this woman poured Drano on her eyes, like a horrific sight to see her like scarification eyes. Oh. Let me put my camera. Shit. Like, she scarified her eyes to look. No, she blinded herself because she felt like she needed to blind. Like, people want their legs amputated. Like, people want to look like Barbie or Ken, or you see where there's people, like, they aren't doing body modification, which I've seen people do surgeries to do body mod, which that makes you feel good. God bless. But people who've, like, almost, I don't want to be mean, but, like, they've done a lot of plastic surgery. I'll put it that way. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. This screams to me mental health. So I'm not like to like arcing back to like Trisha Paytas when she was going through all of her issues, being like, I'm this thing, like I have this medical disorder. Trisha Paytas is trans. They're non-binary. Like, everyone's like, you're making a mockery of this. It's like, Trisha Paytas is a troll, and she might be making a mockery of the mental health community, and she hurt people there, and she should apologize. But Trisha Paytas obviously has some mental health problem, and I think they have been recently diagnosed with like schizophrenia and BPD, which I have BPD. So there's obviously something going on, and that's why I want people to grasp when we're talking about these transracial people, like Rachel Dolezal, the Jimin guy that wants to be Korean. There's something going on. I think you should just maybe have more grace for them. Be mad, be upset, get all your feelings out, but like, don't send them death threats or bully them. And also, like, this isn't gonna matter in a year. Like, they're a single person living out their lives. Like, if it wants to make them happy, yes, it's offensive, but at the same time, like, they're not hurting anyone. And I know as a white person I'm saying this, but, like, I guess the best example I could use is, like, if a dude wanted to act gay, but doesn't have gay sex, and he just likes to act flamboyant, not like a metrosexual that just takes care of himself, he wants to do, yes, queen, slay, honey, boots down the house, realness. I don't care. And I know that's not the same as, like, making a mockery of someone's race, but I guess that's the only thing I could come close to, is because I have years of people like calling me a faggot and wishing death on me. Then they act gay around their friends. I mean, that's the only thing I could compare it to, and I only care is because they hurt gay people. But I don't care if someone acts gay. I know that's not a one-to-one comparison, but I'm just saying, like, if someone was acting like that and they just want to make their life more difficult and worse by acting like that, because being gay is not okay in America, it's okay, you know, because God loves you, but, like, you know, they're definitely not vibing with, like, gay people. I just don't know what to think about that, because it's like, I don't know, like, I'm sorry, someone, the car is coming by. I just feel bad, because it's like, obviously something's going on. And I guess how I would tie this into transgender people is, um, I don't think transracialism is the same thing as being trans, because we have intersex people. There's obviously people have gender dysphoria, some people don't, but they're trans. But like being transracial, you're basically what, changing your facial structure and transitioning into a different race. Why can't you just appreciate the culture? I don't know what's with like trying to darken the skin, change the eyes. And this is also an interesting thing that happens in Asian culture, where Asian people make their eyes look more Western by like rounding them out, which is interesting. It's like, okay, well, I guess do whatever makes you happy. And then like colorism, where people like bleach their skin. So it's, I wish all these people were just happy with who they are, because God loves them. I love them just the way they are. And like I said, if you just want to appreciate someone's culture, I don't think that's a bad thing. But when you get into this whole idea of like, I'm gonna like physically change my body to look like another race, I would just give it second thoughts. But like I said, don't send death threats saying these people, they're obviously something's going on in their lives, and maybe just pray for them. Like, get your feelings out, but just don't be cruel. Like, these people don't deserve it. I really think there's something kind of with those people that want to disable themselves. Mama, something's going on. Like, their life isn't all right, and I just think you just need to pray for them, love them. You don't have to like be like, oh my gosh, what you're doing is not problematic. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying like, just don't like be cruel. I mean, you have like an ounce of empathy, because like with the Trisha Paytas thing, it's obvious Trisha's going through something. And like with these people, there's obviously something going on more than them just wanting to be a different race. So yeah, guys, that's my video. I hope you liked it, and I hope you have a good day. God bless. Mwah.